Welcome back to Beyond the Shelves. Today, we're very excited to talk about Wuthering Heights. We're going to talk about the book versus the movie. We both read the book. We both saw the movie. We both have thoughts about the book, the movie, and the discourse around the movie. Because there is a lot of discourse around this movie. But before we get started, we got any announcements?
Just the big one.
Obviously.
The Avid lineup has been announced.
Yay.
I won't go through them all with you right now, but they are all up on the website.
Mm-hmm.
But the first one, which I'm very excited about.
I thought about you immediately.
It is Julia Quinn is coming to Des Moines. She'll be here Tuesday, April 7th at 7 p.m., but at the Hoyt Sherman. So do not come to a library. Mm-mm. She will not be there. Mm-hmm. So Hoyt Sherman is where you want to be, which I think aesthetically also
such a vibe.
Is such the vibe you want for a historical romance author.
Yeah, weird question. Does she have a new book coming out?
Not that I'm aware of.
I think this is just like over-encompassing, like Bridgerton related.
I think so. Okay. She does have that subscription service coming out, so I don't know if that's what she'll be talking about. But
and maybe she'll drop aside.
Maybe.
Who knows?
I am unaware of a new book of hers coming out.
Okay. I didn't know. I didn't think so, but I think that's really exciting. I finally have watched the newest season of Bridgerton.
Me too.
Which took me a minute to get into, but
really?
Yeah, I've never read the books or anything. But
yeah, that's true.
I do enjoy that little romantic TV show. So I'm excited for all the people who are excited about Julia Quinn, because I know there's lots of them. So it'll be fun.
I'm very excited. I'm literally in Minnesota for a conference, home for 3 days, and then back in Minnesota to see friends, and Julia Quinn is there in the in-between.
That's funny.
So I get to see her before
fun.
Yes.
So that's exciting. There's lots of we have the full Avid lineup. It is on our website. You cannot miss it. There's lots of great authors coming. I'm pretty psyched about this lineup.
Yes, it's a really good lineup. 25th anniversary.
Yeah. But anyways.
Well, what are you reading right now?
So I am, with my eyes, I'm reading a book called Evil Genius by Claire Ochetsky. She's written 2 other books. She wrote a book I really loved called Chouette, about, this was like weird girl novel. She was like, I feel like she wasn't a precursor, but it was before it was really popular, and before Night Bitch, but it's about a woman who thinks she gives birth to an owl. Right up my alley. Chouette is, I believe, the term for a baby owl. Chouette. I am not a speller. Anyways, we'll put it.
I love that you even attempted it.
I was like, no. But this book, she writes just kind of, this very different from that book, but it's like a 1970s unhinged female main character, obviously right up my alley. But basically it's about this woman who hears about how her coworker dies in a crime of passion, and she starts becoming obsessed with the idea of what it is to live and kill for love. So she just it's one of those spiraling obsession novels. It's short. I used my Libro credit on it and I was like, yeah, let's do this. And so far so good.
Yeah.
It's not the best thing I've ever read. It's not the worst thing I've ever read. And then with my eyes, I think this is an advanced reader copy, but it comes out this month. No, I think it's out already. Time. It's called Heap Earth Upon It by Chloe Michelle Howarth. She wrote Sunburn, which was a pretty popular novel. She's an Irish writer. I just started this, so I'm very briefly into it. But it's really sinister. It takes place mid-century, has kind of this gothic vibe. But it's basically about 4 siblings who something very bad happened to them, but you don't know what that is. And I'm guessing you're not going to know for a long time. And they move to a new town to start over. And I think that's where the plot takes off from there. I feel like the blurb said it's a mix of Our Wives Under the Sea, Rebecca, and Shirley Jackson's We've Always Lived in This Castle. So I was like, check. I love all those books. So I have high hopes for this one. And it seems like it's just an interesting little tense. Sometimes I really want to read a book that's the tension is there, that's not a mystery, because I'm not a mystery reader.
Right.
But I like to feel the whole time I'm reading a book sometimes. And I think I'm going to feel that way with this one. It's giving me a little bit vibes of The Safekeep, which is a different era, but a historical, sapphic obsession book. But anyways, I'm so far so good on both of these.
Okay.
What are you reading?
I just finished listening to Tough Guy by Rachel Reed, which is in the Game Changer series. Listened to that, and I'm now listening to, so just started literally like as of driving to this podcast recording. So that's how far into it I am. The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. Billionaire romance.
Classic.
So we'll see. Not usually my genre of romance, but it's like very popular on the book talks. The man is trying to own like a theme park. And then, his grandfather dies.
Okay.
He has to own and I've already forgotten like what he has to do to own the theme park. Sure. But there's, but I'm very, we'll try this billionaire romance. I wasn't sure to read, and it came up as like an available audiobook. I was like,
available
cool.
now will definitely
I was like, cool.
Change what you're like. I wouldn't have had an audiobook if I did not use my Libro credit. Yeah. I was like, well, nothing's available right now, so sometimes you just have to go with what Libby
and I might love
you.
it. I'm
know.
15 minutes into it, so.
You never know.
The narrator is very good. He's got that like the deep dark voice. And I was like, okay, no, that's fine.
I have a question about the game or the Heated Rivalry Game Changer series. You're listening to them.
Oh no, wait! I read that with my eyeballs. I lied.
Okay.
I did read that with my eyeballs.
Because I was gonna say I've heard some critiques about the narrator of the audiobook.
So have I. So that's why, sorry everyone, I lied to you. That's why I haven't been listening to it.
Okay, you've been reading
I've been reading it.
Okay.
Because I have heard the same critiques. And also, for me, the narrator could be amazing, but I think because I've already
heard their voice.
The fact that it's going to be in anyone else's voice is going to throw me.
Okay.
So I'm so sorry.
Sorry that I called you out.
No, that's good. I was reading that with my eyeballs. It's because I was tandem reading the other book I'm reading. So I'm also reading that with my eyeballs, but I was listening to it. So that I got all confused about what I was reading and what I was listening to. But I'm rereading Shield of Sparrows by Devney Perry. It is a romantasy in which the main character, Odessa, is forced to marry someone from another country in this land. She thought her older sister was going to be given to this prince, but she's not. And so she ends up in a different land where there's like monsters and magical creatures and all the things that are very romantasy plot. But I'm reading it. I loved it. I'm rereading it because the second in the series comes out in April. So I want to be prepared.
And I do feel like with fantasy, not all romantasy and not all fantasy, but like if it's been a while since you have read the first book, you either need like a as seen on like you need a recap or you need to reread it, because like at least for me, I think that's part of the reason I don't finish series, because I'm like too much work to go back, use my brain to remember what happened, which makes me sound lazy, but it just
yes. I mean, there's a lot of books. Sometimes like I go into romantasies and fantasies sometimes for the vibe too. It's like I'm assuming they'll catch me up somewhere in here. I will say the book that wouldn't burn, that's a trilogy. Blanking on the first name of the author. He does a recap. He does like a bullet point recap on the first page, and I loved it so much. His books are very intricate. So for all the like fantasy George R. R. Martin, like whoever, I would love a 1-page bullet point.
Just a 1-page bullet point.
Yeah, of like what everyone's doing. And this book was like that because I audiobooked it the first time. And not that nothing happened, stuff happens, but like a lot happens in like the last 50 pages. So I'm listening to it like in my car, and I was like, oh no, I missed what's going on. What do you mean? What's happening? Yeah, without giving too much away.
Yeah.
So I'm rereading that, and I'm getting the book from Shelf Flip. So I'm just like waiting for that email that's like, it's here for you.
It's a great feeling.
So that is what I am reading right now. But on my TBR is just more romantasy.
Nothing wrong with that.
The Ashen series by Demi Winters a few months ago came out with her third book called Dawn of the North. There's also like a novella and then the in-between called Roots of Darkness that I'm probably going to listen to. I spent a Libro credit on it, so I will be listening to it.
You will be listening to it.
Because I paid for it. And the other thing I'm also very excited about, Alana Andrews, who's one of my favorite authors. Their new book drops here in March, called This Kingdom Will Not Kill Me.
Okay, like I have that book on hold. I think it looks so good.
Yes.
So I'm also intrigued. I've never read anything they have written.
I think you can say she.
I know it's a duo, which I feel like I didn't know until like not that long ago.
Yeah, I think I filled you with that. It's a husband and wife.
Yeah, and which I love.
Yes,
that's so wild.
So I think like as a pseudonym, it's she. I always end up calling them they because the picture in the back of the book is the couple.
Them. Yeah. But yeah, I feel like the plot on this one looks
really
interesting.
I think it's gonna catch more people because even so, I have forced my husband to read my favorite series of theirs, but he was like, I want to read this one. It's not just because like you've recommended it. Like he had it on hold like before me. I think he sent me the because I think their tour is who's and he follows Tor on all the socials. So he was the one who sent me. He's like, "Did you know Alana Andrews is coming out with a new book? I've already put it on hold." I was like, "Of course you did." So I'm very excited. That one's coming from Bookshop, so it's getting sent to me, and I'm just like, send it to me now. I'm a librarian. It can be here early. It's fine. I get ARCs all the time.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Anyway, what's on your TBR?
So with my eyes, the next book up I'm going to read is The Lion Women of Tehran by Marjane Kamali. She wrote The Stationery Shop, which I love. I love that book. It's so beautiful. It's like a love story without being a romance. Like, it's lovely. But I joined a book club, which I can't remember. I said this last time, but I don't think so because I didn't know. I joined a book club because I don't like being told what to read. That's right. And I have to do it for my own book club, but I choose those books at Franklin. And I was like, maybe it'd be fun to just go to a book club where I don't have to like run it. Yeah. Or like that I can just sit back and like watch everyone else argue about the book instead of like mediating it. And so Nos Books, I joined their book club because I love that bookstore. I love the vibe there, and every book that was picked was like yes, either I want to read it or have read it. Like I think the next one is A Light from Uncommon Stars. Oh, yeah. Love that book. Yes. I've read that twice. I won't need to reread it, but I'll join in another discussion about it because I think we read it for my book club. Anyways, If an Egyptian Cannot Speak English was by Noor Naga, was our first book, which was intense, and I've been meaning to read it forever, and I absolutely loved it. So anyways, long story short, that's what I'm going to read next for a book club. And then, I will always say I do not like the term guilty pleasure, so I'm going to preface with saying that, but I'm pretty sure I am going to spend my next Libro credit on Lisa Rinna's memoir. Not because of the Traitors. Fine, Traitors is great. I love Lisa on Traitor, but I'm a long time Housewives Bravo person, particularly the Housewives of Beverly Hills. That was like my introduction into the Housewives universe. There's some wild stuff that happened when she left the show. Lisa Rinna, as she would say herself, is whack-a-doodle. And so I feel like it'd be pretty fun to like listen to her, read her. I haven't read like a good celebrity memoir in a while. So we'll see if I end up spending my last credit on that. And I'm really close to getting the hold for, I always want to say the title wrong, Once There Were Wolves, which is the last Charlotte McConaughey book I haven't read. And we all know I love her. So she became like this crazy, like this major autobiography for me after Migrations, not Wild Dark Shores. So we'll see if I go with literary fiction or trashy celebrity memoir.
Did you ever watch Veronica Mars?
Oh, yeah.
That is my, like my toe in the water for Lisa Rinna.
I love that.
Because Logan's dead mom. Sorry, I shouldn't spoil it. I guess it's 20 years old probably at this point.
It's fine. It's fine. I think it did just come back on streaming full force not that long ago.
I think it moved over to Netflix.
Because I love Veronica Mars. It was very time and a place for me, too. So.
Anyway.
Digress, as per usual.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into it. We both reread or read. I reread. Because I read it a while ago and I wanted it still fresh. Why I reread it? Great question. Reading it twice, maybe I didn't need to do, is what I'm going to say.
I started it when I was in my teens and was like, this is not Jane Austen instead of Town.
Or like for that matter, the other Brontë, like Jane Eyre. Like,
I have this is my first Brontë.
Oh, okay.
This is my first Brontë.
Okay.
So.
I also did not read it in high school or in college. I have no real connection to this book. I was more of a Jane Eyre girly.
I think that's going to make for a better discussion because neither of us are like diehards.
I think the biggest critiques do come from diehards. Not saying that's bad.
No.
I will also say that, like, however you feel about this movie or this book is absolutely valid.
Yes.
Because I feel like people have very strong feelings, and mine might not be as strong, but I do absolutely recognize the critiques while also being like, it was fine. It was a good movie. It wasn't bad. It was pretty, you know, like.
Yeah, and we'll get into it. Believe me. So I did this for you. My husband was so excited. He's such a moviegoer, and I was like, "You want to go to Wuthering Heights with me?" He's like, "You want to go to Wuthering Heights?" And I was like, "It's for the podcast." He's like, "That makes more sense."
Yeah, I get it now.
Cool.
I'm not a movie. I like a comfort of my own home movie experience. I always have. I get the theater experience, but I'm really glad that I did actually see this in the theaters because it was. Among other things, it was visually stunning.
We saw it on Valentine's Day.
Dead. We'll get into the whole Valentine's Day of it all.
Which we didn't do on purpose. I got the tickets and then like 3 days later, he's like, "You know, this is Valentine's Day." I was like, "Oh, yeah." I also like we've never saw we have a 3-year-old and another one on the way, and I'm just like,
sure.
My brother could babysit. This
Yeah.
is the day that we're going.
I love that. Romance. It's alive.
Not dead unless it's in Wuthering Heights.
Lots of things we want to talk about. I would say, like, really quickly, the history of the Brontes, like, briefly, we'll dig into a little bit.
Yeah.
This book came out in 1847 under a pseudonym, Ellis Bell.
Yes, all the Brontes' last name were Bell, and then they had, like, male first names. But apparently, no one knew it was the Bronte sisters, but everyone knew it was a pseudonym because I think Charlotte's is, like, Current or something like that. Curran. And it was like...
It is.
It's like, that's not a real name.
No. And I think that, like... it was her sister who said it was her after she died. Like, she did not really have...
Well, she died in 1848, so a year after the publication. And Emily was always, like, the most solitary of the 3 of them. There's, like, I've read now multiple articles about, like, also, like, trying to, like, diagnose someone who lived 200 years ago is kind of insane to me. But they're like, did she have autism? Was she neurodivergent? Did she love her brother? There's, like, a whole lot.
It's a lot.
A lot going on. But I also think trying to diagnose someone who wouldn't know what autism was is a
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gets a little, hairy. Yeah, but it was really the other 2 sisters who were, like, usually, because there was a book of poems that was, like, their first thing that they published, and they published them together. And I think, but almost none of Emily Bronte's, like, letters or writings. Supposedly there was a follow-up to Wuthering Heights, which I'm like, how?
Yeah, I don't.
I mean, I guess there are further generations, but
we've heard enough of them.
Yeah, I was like, I'm good.
I do think it's really interesting how, like, no one knew what to do with that book at the time it came out, because in a time of, like, great moral, like, scrutiny, like, where, like, everyone was, like, into that, there was, like, no clear moral angle of this book.
No.
I mean, it was, no one was good. There was no, like, good, evil.
No.
Yeah.
No.
At least for the most part.
Yeah, I agree. Just, like, a weird fun fact that has nothing to do with the book, but so she died at the age of 30, so very young. Is that they thought she died of TB because that's what her brother died of a couple months earlier, but supposedly tuberculosis doesn't, like, move that quickly. And so now people believe, because apparently a lot of people within the town were dying, like, early, and kind of a lot of, like, tuberculosis.
Sure.
They think the graveyard, which would have been, at the Bronte's house, because their father was the vicar, was contaminating the river water. They were dying via contaminated water. And I was like, if that's not the most gothic way.
That is such a gothic vibe.
I don't know what is.
No,
but it was interesting because, again, I had never read a Bronte before, not really looked at. I knew they were sisters, but it was like, there's, like, nothing. Whether she, like, didn't keep her letters, didn't write letters, burned her letters, but, like,
that's so interesting.
Compared to the other Bronte sisters, very little remains of Emily. So it's so interesting that she wrote such an odd novel.
Such a weird book. Like,
but it has like this lasting appeal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is also, I'm not going to lie, strange to me. Like, I do get it. I guess I get it. I get it. It just, the way this book has just stayed in the, like, cultural landscape of, like, just love, romance, gothic, all of that stuff is very interesting to me because it is full of terrible people.
Just awful. And for me, like, I don't get it, but you know me. Like, I was like,
Which I like, I guess.
Yeah, I was like, that's definitely more up your alley.
I know.
I can't do gothic because I don't need necessarily, like, a good and evil, but I just was like, I need to latch on to somebody. Like, and there's
no latch.
There's none.
No.
Like, I kind of like Baby Kathy. So, like, again, because everyone has the same name.
There's a lot of same names.
So not like OG Kathy, but Baby Kathy. I kind of like her. I like that she's mean.
She is.
But she knows it.
I mean, everyone's mean.
To be fair, I don't think everyone is as self-aware that it was Baby Kathy.
Agree. That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. I think that also leads us to the, like, there are many plot changes in this movie.
Yes.
Versus the book. Like, the greatest one being that it ends after Catherine dies.
Which is what, maybe 60% of the way to the book?
I would say half.
Yeah,
like,
okay.
It is like, it is not far into the book. And there is a whole other part of the book that goes on after that. And I think that if you ignore the second half of the book in the movie, if you ignore that, it does take away from, like, the vengeance plot. Because Heathcliff is all about, like,
multi-generational vengeance.
Yeah, like, let's get them back.
Yes.
So,
which also, and again, I think because I don't ride with Gothic very often, that, like, I'm not quite on board for, like, the dad and the brother, but, like, this multi-generational, like, revenge plot. I just remember, like, Kathy dies and I'm like, cool, I don't understand why he cares about, like, the kids.
Yeah, like, why are we...
Or the, you know, like, or Isabel or whatever, which I definitely want to get into the Isabel of it all in a little bit, but I think we need to talk a little bit more about some other stuff before that.
Yes, but no, it definitely... I think I understand why Emerald Fennell, like, was like, no, like, we're going to end it here, but it does take away from, like, what you consider who these characters really are. When you, like, who you thought the characters were in reading the book. I feel like other plot changes, one that was, I think, especially glaring to me, and I will say, like, Margot Robbie is a beautiful, amazing actress, and I love her, but, like, Kathy was, like, 18, okay?
Yeah.
Like, she was a child in the book. Like, it really talks about how they were so young.
Yes.
And, like, feral, and, like, they were in this, like, clearly, like, trauma bonded. Heathcliff and Kathy.
Yeah.
Catherine were trauma bonded. And I think, like, it would have been interesting if they would have cast the role of Isabella, that actress played.
Yes.
Catherine, and then vice versa. Because, again, I think Margot Robbie did a good job. It was she wasn't a bad actress. She did a good job in the movie, but it did. That was a real block for me, because as I was reading the book, I was like, these are bratty little children, at least, like, the first half of the book. You know?
I mean, and then also, like, if she marries Linton at, like, what, 20, I think? And she dies maybe 5 years later? Don't quote me on the timeline on this, but it's not.
It's muddy.
But I was like, at her oldest, she was maybe 30 before she died. And I think that's, like, being generous. I think she's probably more like 25.
Yeah, she was not that old.
Yeah. And then also, I think you can't not talk about casting and then not talk about the Jacob Elordi of it all.
The Heathcliff of it all.
And also, I realized when we were leaving the theater that this is my first Jacob Elordi.
Interesting.
I'm not, so, like, I didn't come in with, like, any expectations, but I was like, you know, I feel like in some 19th century novels, you can say that, like, and even, like, when I read even, like, 2000s romance, like, the use of adjectives to describe people of color can be foggy at best. This is not one of those cases.
No, it's not.
It's not. I think one of the terms in particular I had to look up was, and I did not write this down. This is my fault. Lascar, I believe, is the yes, which is I don't remember if it's derogatory or not, but I don't think so. I think of its time.
Of its time.
I wouldn't call it, but it meant someone of Indian or South Asian descent who worked for like the British Navy. Yeah. And that is how they describe Heathcliff.
I mean, there's like a quote that says, like, though it's as dark almost as if it came from the devil, which is also, like, that's derogatory, but, like, that to me also just, like, very much indicates that Heathcliff is not white. And also that, like, him being othered is, like, foundational to the plot of this movie. Mm-hmm. Oh, the book.
The book.
Sorry.
Not obviously foundational
like
to the plot
like
of the movie.
An outsider. And not just, like, the servant, like, as, like, an othered. Like, that's where his whole revenge plot, like, everything comes into that. So I think taking that away really does a disservice to this movie. Yes. I really do.
And also, like, Dev Patel is right there.
I know.
Like,
would have been perfect. Oh.
That's a man. Oh, he could be in anything. And I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
One ticket.
And it's, like, to, like, transition to him from, like, Heathcliff to someone who's, like, been, like, basically, like, a victim of racial trauma into, like, alluring mailman character.
Yeah.
Just, like, of a romance, basically. It just, I don't know, it, like, erases that. And it makes I think it makes audiences more comfortable with, like, their own historical, like, racial guilt.
Yes.
By not having him be... Yeah, it's
and I don't think Emerald Fennell made it any better when she said, "Well, this was my what I thought when I was reading it as a teen."
That makes it almost worse.
And I also I can forgive the teen. I feel like a little bit but like I can't forgive the 40-year-old woman. The adult woman.
The adult woman. Yeah, no.
For like having the same thoughts, because I even wrote, I was like, this is every 14-year-old girl's version of this book if they considered this a healthy romance to aspire to. Like, that was the movie.
That was the movie.
Yeah. You read this at 14 and then never had another thought about this book.
Yeah.
That's my biggest critique. Because I also think if this movie was just like a gothic romance, not an adaptation of Wuthering Heights, maybe it had, a lot of similarities. Okay.
Yeah.
But you didn't... I feel like the quotation marks around Wuthering Heights are doing a lot of heavy lifting.
I, like, rolled my eyes. I don't know if you could see it on camera because I wasn't facing the camera, but I did roll my eyes. Nice. The quotation marks... At first, I was like, okay, I see what she's doing here before I saw the movie. And I was like, I get it. Like, obviously, everyone has their... If you're directing a movie, you have your own creative power. And I was like, okay, this is her way of, like, being like, this is my interpretation of it. But, girl, your interpretation was... very different.
Yes.
Like, very, very different.
I don't know why I bumped up against the fact, too, in the movie. So, and maybe to be fair, I listened to it, so I could have missed it. So Joseph, the Joseph character, in my head is like this crotchety old man.
Like he's mean.
And he's mean, and he's like spitting Bible verses all over the place, right? Yeah. And then there's just like, this nice 20-year-old man. I was like, who is this version of Joseph?
Who are you?
Who are you?
I know.
I don't know why that like every time Joseph showed, I was like, you're not Joseph.
You're not Joseph. No, I think, we could probably talk for hours about the casting of Jacob Elordi's Heathcliff. Also, just to be clear, I think Jacob Elordi is a great actor.
Yeah.
For the most part, I've seen him in other things, and I understand. I can't say I understand. I can see why he was cast as her, like, teenage version of Heathcliff, but it just did not work for me.
And I think there's an interpretation out there. I mean, I'm not writing it, where because there's a way to write it that you as the audience know it is a 14-year-old girl's version of Wuthering Heights. Like, that's a different movie, but I think that's, like, more compelling.
Yeah.
Because also there was a rumor going on. I think this is just people's, like, hopes and dreams that the quotations meant that, like, like Margot Robbie's character was not originally Kathy, and she like fell into like Wuthering Heights. I was like, I am here for that version.
Yeah, I'd watch that version.
Right? And then so like the first part of the movie is just like, uh-oh. I was like, oh no, I'm in Wuthering Heights. And it's like her version of it. Like a 13 going on 30 meets Wuthering Heights.
Yeah. And I mean, I think like, okay, so I read this article that really, after watching the movie, I read this article, which I will link it in the show notes, or we will link in the show notes, because I am taking ideas from this article, but it really reframed how I thought about how this movie was made and marketed. And it really, basically the article is called Emily Brontë in Her Smut Era, The Romance Rebranding of Wuthering Heights. And it talks about how the movie is like basically looked at through the lens of like dark romance. And so there's the clinch cover poster, which is like major. We've talked about clinch covers before. Like it's, I think if you read it more, or if you watch this movie more as a culturally specific like point in time rather than an adaptation, it makes way more sense. And when I read like her thoughts on this, Shauna Lipton is the writer, I was like, oh, okay. Like, it didn't absolve my thoughts of, like, my critiques of the movie by any means. And she definitely gets into, like, the Heathcliff of it all and everything. But I really was like, okay, that does read more of, like, Emerald Fennell was taking this cultural moment and putting that on, like, she probably wasn't actually doing that. But it did, like, make me, like, that idea worked. Like, how the hero's capacity for violence is kind of what makes him hot. Yeah. That's what dark romance is. That's what dark romance is. And this is not a critique on readers of dark romance or dark romance at all. But it's like, you know, a toxic relationship repackaged for mass consumption. Like the author brings up, it ends with us. It ends with us. Also, which I think is another good like example of that style. But yeah, I just thought that was such an interesting way to look at the movie. Yeah. As like this like algorithmic like commodification of like a trope, really. Yeah. Rather than an adaptation.
And I think I think that comes back to our original point of like, if you wouldn't have called it Wuthering Heights, maybe it wouldn't have been as popular, to be fair. And some of this discourse, I think, got people to go to the movie.
Sure.
It got me to go because then we're doing a whole podcast on it. You know, I was not going to this movie. I probably would have gone. I love that you read like a really interesting article about a critique on dark romance, and literally the one critique I pulled is Variety called it moist. I mean, there was more to that critique, but they weren't wrong. I was like,
no, and it is. I mean, it is that, which is another tangent, is that this was marketed as smut, and you know what? Go away. Yes. This was not like, I do not like this about Emerald Fennell movies. Saltburn did it too. It was like, they kind of are marketed as this like depraved, like, this is like, you know, because if you have not read Wuthering Heights, they do not have sex in the book, just to be clear. They have sex in the movie, but it was like, vanilla. I was like, come on, like if you're gonna like remarketing this as like, you know, this like grand romance, like
with the smut,
it didn't really like, their chemistry didn't really, at least their physical chemistry didn't really work for me.
I didn't quite believe their like emotional chemistry either. No. As someone who's like watched and read a lot of romances, I was like, they're fine. I didn't like, you know, not believe it, but I didn't believe that it was like, this is a romance that people would literally kill for, that people would seek, you know, that he would seek revenge. Like I didn't believe it. Yeah, they're fine.
I don't know.
I don't know. Like, to be fair, I didn't believe it in the book either. Yeah. I did not think that like their 18-year-old eyeballs at each other was enough to, and I know that's not the only reason he was seeking revenge on this family, but like her marrying Edgar is the reason, though, that vengeance gets bigger to the Lintons as well.
Yes. Yeah, takes on a whole new family.
Yes,
to be angry at. But that was something that like, if I was looking at as like the lens of like dark romance, I was like, okay, like but they didn't have that chemistry. That was like,
No.
that lacked for me for sure in the movie. I feel like I'm just like dissing on Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi a lot, but like they did give good performances independent of this book, but it just wasn't what I thought of when I was reading the book.
No.
I don't know.
They cut a lot, like we talked about. I will say I'm glad, and maybe I would have liked the movie more honestly because it would have shown like really the depravity that there's no dog being hung by a window, and there's no baby being dropped from the second floor railing.
Thanks for reminding me of that.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean that happened because they cut a whole generation of people.
Yes.
I will say, like, talking about a little bit of the race of it all too. Nellie seems so much more manipulative in the movie.
Right. So they definitely changed Nellie, the character, from a servant to like a lady's maid.
Yes.
They made Emerald Fennell, like in the movie, she's more like she is basically held responsible.
Yes.
For Kathy and Heathcliff not.
And also Kathy's
together.
death.
Yeah.
On top of that, which is not true in the book either.
No.
Because Nellie doesn't seek help for Catherine after she says she lost the baby, because we all, including myself,
was like, she's crazy.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, I guess that makes sense because and also that's different from the book, because in the book, Catherine has her daughter, Kathy, because nobody's names change.
Nope. So many names that are the same.
But I was like, oh yeah, you can write it that way because there's no second generation. But I was like, instead of Nellie being this kind of gossipy servant
who did control the narrative a little bit in the book.
Yes, because it's her version of events.
But not like this.
I don't think the Nellie of the book spent time manipulating other characters so that she could get ahead in the way that it is presented in the movie.
Yeah.
No, because I also, to be fair, if I was Nellie, I would not believe that this woman who's slowly like falling into madness has lost her baby without like some physical knowledge of that fact. Yeah. But yes, so like the one woman of color in the whole movie is the one who's like manipulating the white woman.
Yep. I picked up on that immediately, and it made me uncomfortable in the movie, and I don't know. I don't know how to talk about that without being like, it was not, if you're like trying to not cast based off of like who the characters are and then you do that, I don't know.
Especially when that was not, again, if you just wouldn't have called it Wuthering Heights, too. Like maybe we could have like a different discussion. But like that is not the Nellie of the book.
No.
At all.
Not even a little bit.
She's a busybody maid. Who doesn't have like a lot of control over her own life.
No.
The reason, like, this is the one thing she has, is to be able to like gossip with the new owner of the house.
Yeah.
Right? She doesn't have control in the way that she does in the movie. I mean, like, she doesn't have all the control. She's still like a ward.
Yeah.
But with some sort of gentleman ties because she's a companion to Catherine throughout the book. So I really stuck on that.
Me too.
The whole time. I
didn't like it.
I didn't like it. Did we like anything about this movie? As we're like, I didn't hate it.
I will say I loved the set.
Production design.
I think that there was something there was a Lit Hub article that was like scathing, being like, this movie's no bueno. Not good. Like, don't watch it. But it said, when your set becomes your story, you've lost the plot. And I was like, bingo.
That's it.
That's it right there. Like, that's it. Because she just relied way too much on that. And I think there was another quote on that article that was like, when you go to
The Grange.
It's like David Cronenberg's cribs, and I was like, that is so spot on. Like, because like, you know, like the skin wallpaper, like, come on, the weird hand fireplace, like, it was cool. Like, it was cool,
it was
but
beautiful
and so really weird, and that whole, all the red, it was like, what are we doing here? But it didn't symbolize anything. It was just there. or like maybe beat over your head, like all the corsetry image, like it was beautiful. I will give it that for sure.
The Cribs reference literally broke my brain.
I'm sorry, it was just that was like too funny.
Yes, it was
like it's
great.
That tracks like a body horror version of Cribs. Was that like home, and I was like, all right. I'll link that We'll link that article too. So, but I just remember laughing at that, like out loud at my desk, being like, you know what? Yeah, you are correct.
I also want to shout out the costume designer.
Yes,
because that was also insane. And the costume designer is Jacqueline Duran, who, if the green dress, if that means anything to anybody on the podcast, she is the creator of the green dress, which for those who don't know is from the movie Atonement. Keira Knightley wears that at one point, and it's the most beautiful dress I've ever seen on one of the most beautiful women in the world, which helps. But it's such a beautiful dress. She does mostly a lot of Joe Wright films, who I'm a big fan of. The 2005 Pride and Prejudice is Joe Wright, but more Atonement is a Joe Wright film. He does a lot of adaptations. But have you seen Anna Karenina? Also, again, another Keira Knightley led movie. They all work together. It's kind of a Flanagan thing. All that costuming, but Spencer, the Princess Diana film, is hers. She just does some of the most beautiful costume design that you have ever seen. I am a huge fan of her costuming, and the costuming is fantastic in this. But again, it's dressing.
Yeah,
literally.
Yeah,
but also figuratively.
And the soundtrack, we talked about it a little bit before we recorded.
Yeah.
I love the soundtrack. I love Charli XCX. I love it independently from this movie. I love listening to the record as like, this is about a toxic relationship, but putting it in the movie as like juxtaposed with like traditional music. I
think they just needed to do more.
It just didn't work for me.
It didn't work for me either.
I was like, this is not, it's like trying to make it, again, it's like this movie is more about us as a cultural moment than like an adaptation. Or like, you know, where we are at culturally. And like, I love, again, the record on its own as like a testament to being in a toxic relationship. Beautiful.
Yeah, no, and I would completely agree. And then because it starts out right away with that Charli XCX song with the hanging, right? That first scene. I was like, cool, this is the vibe. I can get into this. For as much as I like don't love gothic, I love camp. If you're gonna camp something,
yes, please,
I'm here for it.
Always. So, and this could have gone there.
Yes.
It didn't.
Yes. And I was like, oh, are we calling this campy Wuthering Heights? Yes, let's go. And then I think because they went back to some more traditional music, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, so we're not. Oh, then we went to the Grange. I was like, oh, we are. We're not. We're not. And I think that threw me out, like in and out of the movie as well.
Yeah. I feel like, are we missing anything? Or are we going to wrap up? Did we talk about everything we want to talk about?
There is one thing I want to talk about, only because the discourse is so different than how I felt about it.
Okay.
And that's the Isabel storyline.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
So, and I completely understand both sides. So, in the book, Isabel marries Heathcliff, and he's very upfront that, like, I don't love you, this is for revenge. And she's like, I don't care, I'm obsessed with you. But eventually, like, very quickly after the marriage, realizes what a mistake she made.
He abuses her.
It's awful.
No good.
And then
she runs away.
And she gets away. And I think that's an important distinction. She, with the help of Nellie, gets away. And has a kid separate from Heathcliff and lives the rest of her life away from this mess. In the book, or in the movie, she stays with Heathcliff. And then there's like this like kind of BDSM situation going on. And I didn't mind this. I know a lot of people hate it because they feel like that takes away from her getting away.
And her being actually abused.
Yes.
There is a very strong difference between those two things.
Yes. I took that to mean as like she had control from the moment she said yes to Heathcliff. That's what I did too. Yes, there was no moment of like, because I'm 18, because she's also like supposed to be like 17, very young and obsessed with Heathcliff, and then not until she sees the reality of what's going on, like she didn't. I don't think she truly believed in the book that she truly believed Heathcliff until he started abusing her at Wuthering Heights. I feel like this adaptation, which a lot of people don't like, and I think that's completely valid.
Agree.
But I took it as no, because he asks her, like, tells her multiple times before in the movie that, like, I'm not going to love you. This is for revenge. She does the same thing he kind of does in the book. And then she's like, no, that's fine. Mm-hmm. That's not why I'm here. Mm-hmm. And I was kind of like, okay, she made her own choice from the moment she said yes.
I agree. That's how I felt that way too. Actually, I felt that way watching the movie, even though I knew, like, obviously Isabella's real storyline. But then when I got into that discourse, I was almost surprised that I disagreed with it.
Me too.
A little bit, but I was like, no, I do feel like it's, like, maybe the, like, most interesting.
I think it's the most interesting. I
think,
like,
if she would have dug into that more. Mm-hmm. I love the actress who played Isabella was maybe one of the best performances.
It's like the only, actually, like, as we're talking about out loud, like, the most positive takeaway. I was like, I really enjoyed this version of Isabel.
Yeah.
So yes, I completely understand that, like, it takes away from this idea of a survivor getting away and creating her own life. And I completely understand that like, that was completely separated. And erased. But so it's just my interpretation of it too. So.
No, I felt that way too. And it's funny, like I said, like when I started reading, I was like, oh, I see where that critique's coming from, but I didn't put that together while I was watching the movie. Like I wasn't like, oh, I just didn't put that part together. I was like, oh, this is an interesting take on Isabella, not like this is a bad take on Isabella.
And I think that's the one place where Emerald Fennell, I think there could have been more, but did an okay job of like, you know, when Isabel, like, kills the doll version of Catherine, I was like, we're seeing this young woman already has, like, her own thoughts and feelings in a way that I think is not represented in the book, because it's so much more about Catherine and Heathcliff than it is about Isabel. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, no, I think that's already there. Her temperament, her ability to know what she wants. Yeah. It was kind of, you know, for that. So anyway, that was my last thing. I definitely wanted to touch on Isabel.
No, that's good. And I think, again, this book and movie situation just really says more about what we wanted, like what she thought, what Emerald Fennell thought we would want, or what, like, culturally we would want from a movie like that. She just didn't realize it would make everyone so angry. Yes. Like, it's more about what our current time and culture than, like, an adaptation of the book. That's how I think
that's a great way to look at it.
Fully looked at it. So, I mean, we could keep talking, but we probably shouldn't.
No, we shouldn't. It would go on forever. So let's get into the book bulletin.
It's time for the book bulletin.
So first up, I feel like it's funny because, like, you know, we start sending stuff to each other like a month ago.
Yeah.
But something that I think is interesting is bookshop.org partnered with Spotify. Mm-hmm. So you can buy books directly from Bookshop in the Spotify app.
Yes.
And there's also, really, that came out with the news that they have a reader where basically you can scan the book you're reading and the audiobook will go directly to that, like, page to sound. But I would say page to screen. That's not right, but it would go directly to that. Which I think is really cool as someone who sometimes does switch back and forth between audiobooks and physical books. I think it's really interesting. And then, like, I think within a week, Audible was like, us too, we did it too. And they debuted the same thing. If you can buy a book directly from the app that you're listening to, like, with one click,
yeah,
that is a win situation for me.
And then Bookshop still gives, you know, I don't remember what percentage
to whatever bookstore you choose. Independent bookstore to support. It's kind of like Libro.
Yes.
FM, which is what the audiobook version of that is. So.
Yeah, so I guess that way you're still giving back through Spotify.
Yes.
But I'm mostly just mad because I did get rid of my Spotify and then they added this. And as someone who does, like, tandem read quite a bit, as you saw earlier in the podcast, or listened to earlier in the podcast, as I forgot which one I listened to and which one I had been reading.
Happens. But yeah,
it's just really cool.
Just interesting development.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say about that. Good book news.
Yeah, because we do still a lot of, like, book news in this book bulletin.
We're going to talk about AI again, because what book bulletin does not have us talking about AI? There was a crazy New York Times article.
Which we will link to.
That was released. I think it was called...
Oh, here I have
called
it.
Can AI chatbots write emotionally rich romances?
That
was like either the subtitle or the title.
Yes.
Whew. Girl.
And it's based, and it makes me so mad. Hart is her last name. I've never read a book by her, so
No.
I felt better about that.
Yeah.
Basically is very pro AI and it doesn't understand why people, like other authors, might be mad at her. Where she writes under multiple pseudonyms using AI prompts so that she can have thousands of books available for people to read. I don't know how to explain to her that that's just taking from other people's work, but that's not, for me to do.
And then she, in turn, was, like, giving these workshops to,
Yes.
like, help people write, like, steamy scenes better, spicy scenes
Yeah, so that's
better.
the one thing she was struggling with because, like, AI chatbots, I think, have been, like, somewhat programmed to not write sexual material.
Which makes sense. Yeah. Oof.
Yeah.
The layers there.
Yes.
I just really, I don't know anyone who thought this article was like, yeah, girl.
Yeah.
It just really reiterates over and over and over and over again how AI in the publishing industry takes away creative control from, like, writers and artists. And I just, you know what, I hate it. I'm just going to say that. And, like, I don't like this idea that's like, I'm going to get rich quick. Like, writing ChatGPT about how I want to write this romance about such and such. It really rubbed me the wrong way.
Oh, yes. I hated it. I immediately was like, give me your pseudonyms. I want to make sure I'm not reading anything by you. And then also just,
like, praying. Okay, that is a strong word. But, like, romance readers in general are, they're really, I would say, carrying the publishing industry on their back. But they are voracious readers. Lots of people are voracious readers. But, like, romance, I feel like, in particular, is a genre where people just, like, keep going. And so that is, like, a model that, like, it, like, is encouraged by that.
Yes.
And,
I think, it is a genre that is, I don't think you're going to be AI writing, like, mysteries or literary fiction.
No.
Because it is a trope based too, so it's easier.
Which makes sense.
Yes. So anyway, I just, like, it made me livid. And I read the article and thinking, like, maybe I'll take something out of it. Yeah. I did not. Other than rage.
And it is New York Times, so when we link it, you can, if you don't have a subscription to New York Times, you can use your library card and read it. So. Yeah. Okay, like, we're going to go to the slight bummer portion of the book
But we do have, like, a nice end for this book bulletin, so just, like, stick with us.
Light bummer portion. There was a nationwide book banning bill that was introduced to Congress. It was House Resolution 7661. There is an incredible article on Book Riot by Kelly Jensen about this. I've said it a million times that we'll link this article, but, like, I do really encourage people to read this article about this bill. It's also known as the Stop Sexualization of Children Act. It's so upsetting to say out loud. But basically, it would modify an elementary and secondary act of, like, 1965 by prohibiting the use of funds under the act to develop, implement, facilitate, host, or promote any program or activity or promote literature to children under the age of 18 that includes sexually oriented material. It basically is a bill that is targeting trans people as well, and the LGBTQI plus community in general, but definitely targeting trans people, which, like, don't even get me started on that. And, Kelly Jensen says this a lot, and I will end with this. I just want people to keep their eyes on this.
Yes.
Talk to your reps, but the discussion of gender is not sexualization. Full stop. I'll say that. And then also, a little more closer to home, there is a bill that is on the current Senate or the House floor. The House floor. It is HF 2324. It is basically about how school and libraries should not be allowed to work with each other. So, like, bookmobiles, our program of every older high school age student having a library card. So I will ask you guys to keep your eye on that too. There's a really great resource. The Iowa Library Association has a bill tracker where you can just kind of keep your eye on where it's at in the whole scheme of things. Whether it's made the funnel, whether it's on the floor, all that stuff. And
it's also not the only bill.
No.
Connected to libraries.
No.
This session. So that ILA bill tracker tracks all of them.
Yeah. I would recommend keeping your eye on that. If you know, we are obviously library advocates because we work for the library. Like, this is our chosen profession. So, like, of course we're going to advocate for it. But I think it's really awesome. I really hope more people can kind of get involved and become library advocates themselves. Yeah. It's a campaign that we also are really, you know, trying to encourage people to use their library, tell people about their library, and follow this bill tracker, because it could have some pretty severe consequences if some of these bills were fully passed. And they could be.
Yeah.
So, bummer. Sorry, okay, we're done with the bummer.
We're not quite.
I forgot. Sorry.
Not quite. I'm sorry.
One more bummer.
What kind of bummer? So this, I saw this thread on Threads. I still hate the using thread as a noun that way. Anyway, but basically I saw that this woman had been broken up with by her boyfriend because she owned a library card.
That's wild.
And so, haha, funny, dude's an idiot. And then all these women in her comments were like showing their library card.
Like, we have a library card.
Unfortunately, it's like a little more sinister than that. And I think it connects with all of these book banning bills going through. The reason he broke up with her was because he thought she was going to the library to essentially ogle underage boys. Like, that was the whole reason. Like, why would you go to the library? It's just full of kids. What are you doing just looking at kids? And I think all of that is really interconnected. So you can say, haha, this guy just doesn't understand libraries. What a dummy. But I think this discourse is coming out of this idea that at a national level, this is what people think you do in libraries.
It's like I have no words.
Right?
It's just wild. Like, if you don't, like, tell me you don't go to a library without telling me you don't go to the library,
yes.
You know? Or are a library user in general. So, honestly, she could have a library card and not ever go to the library.
Yeah.
We don't know that.
Yeah.
She could be living it up.
Yeah.
I don't know.
A lot of our patrons never step foot. They just read their books on there.
Until they have to renew their card.
card.
But I do think that does, like, very much reflect, like, people's misconception. Maybe I would say a conservative misconception of, like, what libraries are and, like, what they do for communities, what they do for families, what they do for children. It's not that.
No. No, this woman is just trying to get the newest Abby Jimenez.
Yeah.
And you're breaking up with her. But on a lighter note. They're publishing adult American Girl books.
Which I love. There's something about this, like, millennial, like, nostalgia rebrand that's happening just, like, everywhere. Like, the America's Next Top Model documentary. Like, there's just
two of them. There are two of them.
There's just a lot, just a lot happening to be like, let's remember the times. And it's going to be written by Fiona Davis. It's a grown-up version of Samantha. It's Samantha's story set in the 1920s.
So probably the
unfortunately,
title.
like, I was a Samantha, but I always wanted to be a Molly or a Kristen.
I was also a Samantha. And
I just, like, the fanciness of it all just got to me. I just don't hate the idea. What I want to see? Give me the Babysitters Club grown up.
That's the difference, I feel like, in our
Christy.
ages.
I know. I want to see what girl boss is happening with Christy. Like, Claudia Kishi is, like, amazing artist. Like, give me the background. Like, grown up Babysitters Club, please. Which that's a reboot I want to see. Maybe wait, should I write it?
Yeah, there you go. Second career. I think the biggest thing for me too is that this Samantha, it's written by Fiona Davis.
Yes,
who's a very well-known historical
fiction
writer. So, like, they went all out with this millennial nostalgia.
I love it. So on that note, that kind of delightful nostalgic note, we will see you guys next time.